So after I had my divorce, I felt okay. I was always good in studying and I was always going to be achieving in terms of my career. So I went ahead, and during the divorce, it was at the height of my career. So I was like, okay, nobody's going to love me. Let me just focus on my work. But then the work also came crumbling down because there were so many factors that affected that supported that or motivated that to happen in hindsight right now after doing self-reflection. Number one, I always thought of getting external achievement means I am worth something. So if, let's say, I have not achieved or I'm not successful in my relationship, work is something that I can validate my worth in.
Welcome to the Mindful Hustle, where we decode the mindset behind momentum. I'm Donnie. If you ever felt like you're doing all the right things but not seeing the right results, this show will help you shift that at the root. Psychologists have found that our belief systems are formed by age 7, and most people never update them. So your business could be running on outdated code. At Reality Realization Institute, we help you rewrite that internal script to reflect who you truly are today, not who you're told to be. You can book a free call at realityrealization.org/call. Now let's get to the show and introduce today's guest. Today we have Nicolette Nierras, founder of Nierras Holistic Lifestyle, where she guides individuals on a transformative journey towards holistic well-being. With a background as a chartered accountant, Nick reached impressive career milestones by the age of 28. But after facing deep personal and professional challenges, including a difficult divorce, she realized that true fulfillment doesn't come from external sources, but from aligning the heart, mind, and soul. Her healing journey led her to discover the power of rapid transformational therapy, a breakthrough that not only changed her life, but became the foundation of her mission. Today, Nick empowers her clients to create balance, heal from setbacks, and find purpose beyond performance. This episode is a deep dive into the transformation, alignment, and understanding of what it truly means to unlock your full potential. Let's get into it.
When you hear it from somebody them speaking to you, it feels like you've achieved so much, right? But then we tend to look at the negative and just beat ourselves up if we don't achieve things that we hope for or plan for.
Were there any moments that you experienced? I know you had the divorce and other things like that, but were there any pivotal moments like that that really shifted something in your life or business that might have changed the way you perceived everything and made everything kind of click and give you that sense of where you are now moving forward in life?
Oh, well, thank you for that question. I think, no, I remember asking myself a couple of times when they asked me similar things. So before I used to say one pivotal moment, but actually it's an accumulation of moments. But I would say the triggering point was when I felt worthless because number one, I've always been an overachiever. Now that could be a good and bad connotation to it. So I'd like to see it. The Nicolette 1.0, it was bad because I was trying to chase something external to myself and I tied my self-worth to that. So after I had my divorce, I felt okay. I was always good in studying and I was always going to be achieving in terms of my career. So I went ahead, and during the divorce, it was at the height of my career. So I was like, okay, nobody's going to love me. Let me just focus on my work. But then the work also came crumbling down because there were so many factors that affected that supported or motivated that to happen in hindsight right now after doing self-reflection. Number one, I always thought of getting external achievement means I am worth something. So if, let's say, I have not achieved or I'm not successful in my relationship, work is something that I can validate my worth in. If I could pinpoint to one point, it was pandemic, because 2019 was my divorce, 2020 was pandemic everywhere in the world. I was a consultant. So the job I was in a PMO, my role was to be seconded in different projects short term. I used to thrive in that kind of environment because I don't like monotonous work. I like variety. But then because pandemic forced me to be alone and I didn't have anybody to turn to and give me that support, I felt like, okay, what is it that I wanted to do? And that means looking within. If I were to strip everything, the accolades that I've achieved, the people that have loved me before, and this prestigious role or possessions that I had, who is Nicolette exactly? So I had to really dig deep as to why I moved the way I moved before and why was the validation from external surrounding or environment were so important to me. And that started my, you can say, spiritual journey.
Wow, that's powerful. So it was really going through those challenging times that led you to this introspection, and you started to grow out from there.
Oh yeah, I mean the universe is its beautiful way of showing people, right? They're gonna nudge because they're always listening, and they're nudging you. Actually, if you feel something's off within yourself, they're nudging you. I'm gonna create circumstances for you to move you from that situation, and then usually it could manifest through sickness, loss of relationships, such as what I had gone through, or maybe just create turmoil in a place or situation that felt very comfortable for you. That's
Mhm.
when you're in your comfort zone. So it's always listening.
When you reach that point of seeing that there's change that need to be made, what types of shifts did you end up making that led you to kind of grow out from that experience?
It goes back to not feeling enough, and therefore I equated that to not having enough. So I've always had this connotation. So money is always the cure to everything. It's not. So I had the money and the life that I wanted I did not feel fulfilled. So the shifts that I had to do within myself were first, I was always operating from the mind and I neglected my heart. I felt that operating from the heart means it's a weakness because you're leaning into your intuition, because intuition is actually the wisest guide one could ever have here on earth. If people wanted to get close to me, like at my workplace, or people just wanted to get to know me, I would always people please, I would always bend. And that always stemmed for my self-worth, the need to be accepted. And I had to go in and ask myself, why do you have to bend yourself and burn candles at both ends for you to feel accepted, for you to actually see your own worth? And that stemmed from my childhood. Now, as much as I love my parents, I love my dad, he has been the beacon, the pillar in my life, and he has always instilled this within me that knowledge is power. So the only key to changing your life is knowledge. But then I've always wanted to prove to him that for me to amount to something, I have to get the good grades. I have to get a good job. I have to prove to him that, hey, for you to love me more, to be worthy to be your daughter, I have to achieve ABCD. And it wasn't until I looked within and I had to say, okay, Nick, what makes you feel joyful? You're just flourishing in your own lane, you're flowing. What is it that makes you feel that way when you were a kid? And you can do that as your passion. Now, having to change that mindset, I took up accounting because it was safe. It was safe, it was stable, and every industry out there would need an accountant. It was good externally because, being in accounting makes you exposed to the business world, how to make investments. But then the second part of it, would I really survive until 50 years, 60 years of my life in the same industry? Would it feel aligned with my purpose? And I realized that because when I went through the divorce, I've seen it firsthand, people around me who actually stay in the divorce because they were feeling safe. They stay in their jobs because they want to pay, it pays the bills. Now, don't get me wrong, we all need money. What I'm asking myself, if I'm already giving 1000% at a job, which I'm helping other people to live out their dreams, why can I use that to fuel my own dreams? If I'm already putting 1000%, imagine if I put 2000% and it's working towards my highest self. So the key thing is I had to ask myself, what is it? What is that purpose? What are you here for? That prompted everything on where am I living. I started looking at my surrounding, the people that I used to hang out. Are they actually contributing, or are they adding value to where I want to go next? First, determining who am I and who is that Nicolette 2.0 or 3.0 version that I want to be. Then I started looking at the external environment, the people, the work, the biggest thing, and the type of things that I want to do, and the spiritual aspect of it too. So, yeah, that has been the journey so far.
So, expanding from this journey for where you are now, what does that look like in terms of your tangible experience? What have you been able to create up until now?
Bringing into 3D, right? I am now leading from the heart and aided by the mind. So, because we all have our chakras, we have 7 chakras, and the first chakra that actually activates everything is your heart, and the heart starts from here, and all of us has our magnetic field, and that's why we call it vibe, that's why we call it aura, and the vibe actually speaks for itself first. Before you even open your mouth, your vibe says something about you. So I am very, very careful with the vibe that I emit. Who am I when I'm in solitude, and who am I? Am I bringing the authentic Nicolette to the people around me? You can be conscious about it, you can be subconscious. If you are with different groups of people or in different setting, you have this personality of yours, right? There's some parts that only you know, some parts your family members know, and some parts your friends and your co-workers or your partner, significant other. So my key thing is, number one, who is Nicolette in solitude and who is Nicolette outside. Nicolette inside when I'm alone and Nicolette outside is the same. I come from that people pleasing. I have that trait. And for us to be like means that we want to feel accepted. But on the flip side of the coin is we're all different. Even our thumbprints are different. You're identical twin, you're different. Being authentic, but also being authentic in a way that you stand out from the crowd. But the right people, when you're really authentic yourself, used to be, those people that are attracted to you before, when you've actually elevated in terms of your consciousness, these people are going to be attracted to you. And those that do not resonate with you anymore, when you start taking those masks off, the right people will flock to you. Now, it means if you have hundreds of friends, and when you start showing your true, authentic self, see who's actually around you and who can actually accept you for who you are. So that's number one. And I've seen that happening because I've moved from the city and I'm back to my parents' place. And it is funny enough, the place is called Nature City. It's called Sandakan. I've never been happier. Being in a hermit mode, especially when is on the spiritual journey, means uprooting all of your trauma. That has allowed me to be more present with myself and with my family members. The friends that I have right now are actually the friends that I know it's going to be valuable to me when I want to go to my next level. Now, this naturally flows into the business that I'm doing. I used to be in corporate. Now I started my own thing. Why? Because I could no longer resonate with working with people. I tried. I've been in the industry for 15 years, Donnie. And I tried the last one to in 2024, I started my own entrepreneurship. So prior to that, it was all corporate. When you're in corporate, at least the old way of thinking, the old way of hierarchy, the old world, now it's the new world, right? It's always serving the higher ups, the people on the lower hierarchy. And I don't like that because the people on the lower hierarchy is actually the one doing the work. Now the ones on top are the ones, and I don't know if it's my luck. The people that I used to work before were not so, they're not aligned with the mission that I want to, because we're good people. We want to see the good in others too. And when they do certain things that does not portray that way, it doesn't feel good with my soul.
Mm.
And I thought the problem was me. But then if I look outside, the problem is much bigger. It's inherent within the organization already. So then I asked myself, okay, Nick, if you don't want to be associated with them, what are you going to do? Okay. So I said, okay, you know what? I'm going to use my pain and then see, I want to transform it into power. So that's when I started looking into hypnotherapy. I wanted to help myself first. And again, the overachiever within me said, okay, if I could transform myself to create a 180 degree of new Nicolette, new edition of Nicolette, what if I can do that and help others do that as well? That's when I started my Nierras holistic lifestyle. And before that, because my self-esteem was already battered at the time of the loss of my relationship and the job that I was in, I started podcasting first. I wanted to see if other people can resonate. When you're in a very deep pit of self-loathing, nobody loves me, you'd always think that you're the only one with the biggest problem in the world. But then somehow our mind always magnifies the negative things. Like, why me? So I reached out. I didn't want to succumb to that mindset. So I reached out to people and I started my podcast and I named it You're Worthless, because that's the narrative that I had in my mind. You're worthless. And people, when they looked at it and they say, oh, you're worthless, what was this, a satirical podcast? No, it's actually not. It's about uncovering your self-doubt and your self-worth. And truly, we all try to think that the answers are outside of us, is actually within. You just have to be brave enough to uncover all of those root cause and trauma.
Yeah, that's deep. I like that. So what would you say is the mission or vision you have with the work you're doing now? What type of impact are you looking to have on the world?
I want to leave the room that I'm in, whoever that I come in contact with, how I make them feel. Because it's not about how much, if I give an X amount of money to someone, because I just want to give it and just get it done or be done with it, it means it's very superficial, right? But your energy speaks first, and people can feel you before they even open your mouth. So what I want to do on a global scale, of course, I want to make them know that every pain is actually an opportunity for you to transform into power. But if I could distill it or just narrow it down to one thing, how I want to leave every interaction that I have or relationship that I have is, how did Nicolette make me feel? How is my name being spoken as? How am I regarded as? So is Nick a crazy person when her friends actually, the real friends, are wanting her to be there as a friend, or in terms of a client? Was Nicolette present during the session? And if I want to bring it up another notch, when I'm doing public speaking or in podcasts, was she true enough to herself, or was she being authentic enough to herself and to the audience listening? And is there any parts of it that she's trying to conceal? I want to dispel all of that and just be myself. So, and I like to tie it back to these three things that I base my method on. Did I feel I'm worthy? Did people feel that she has that charisma within her? Number two, was she authentic? And number three, abundance. Abundance in what? It's not just material form, it's abundance in the feeling that you feel, the overwhelming feeling of, hey, I feel heard, I feel seen, and I want to step into my highest purpose. If I, again, to spin it into one word, I guess to inspire people.
To inspire. Well, yeah, this has been such a powerful conversation. I appreciate you for sharing your story, sharing your vision, and letting the world know about these deeper truths. So I'm really grateful that you shared so openly. Something I like to do at the end of these episodes is ask if you had to give one insight to the seekers and the creators out there trying to reach a new level of life while being fulfilled as they do so, what would you tell those out there?
Fail often, fail forward, and be kind to yourself
Love that.
while you're at it, because failing can be very harsh, especially when you're building a business and you want to scale it to, thousands, millions of dollars, and you're making global impact. So that is what I say to myself too. Fail often, fail forward, but remember to always be graceful, gracious, and be kind to yourself while you're at it.
Mhm.
You're going to be fine. Thank you for sharing the space and for letting me just be myself and share my message through your platform and your audience. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. And for those of you listening, if this episode stirred something in you, if you feel like you're ready to grow from the inside out and create the kind of life and business that reflects your highest self, you can book a free discovery call at realityrealization.org/call. No pressure, just a space to explore how your mindset can click into higher alignment. Before we wrap, Nick, where can listeners connect with you and learn more about what you're doing right now?
Thank you, Donnie. So, for those listening, if something that I mentioned resonate with you and you want to find out more about what is it that I do, and just take away my freebies, a way to connect with me is through my website, www.thenierrasholisticlifestyle.com. I have hypnosis audios that you can actually enjoy when it's about 15-20 minutes long. It's meditation guide, and it's a sneak peek into my coaching. And then I also have an array of digital guides if you're not ready for a one-to-one or group coaching. There's there available. And also I have upcoming retreats. And then, yes, if you just want to see how I connect with other guests as well, we talk about self-doubt, self-worth, existentialism topics. You can also check me out on my podcast, You're Worthless. Read that again, the juxtaposition of your very soul.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, thank you again, Nick, for sharing such real and thoughtful insight. And to all of you tuning in, remember, you don't attract what you want, you attract who you are. So if you want to change your results, start by becoming the version of you who already has them. This is the Mindful Hustle. Until next time, be bold, be intentional, and keep realizing your reality.